Okay, I had this dream, and I dreamt that I was having chili because I was going to make meatloaf, but the electric went off. So when I went to sleep, I dreamt I was thinking about having to make chili out of my hamburger that I thawed. Well, anyway, I dreamt that I went to Charleston Airport, got on this two-man plane that was taking me to I don't know where I was going, but he was flying me there. Well, between Charleston and where I was going, the airplane crashed and the pilot was killed. I was the only survivor. So I got out of the plane and I started thinking about what I was going to do and all this. Well, Terry was supposed to have called that day to see if I made it to wherever it was I was going. Well, he forgot to call until the next day, and when by the time he called the next day, they had told him that they had lost, that my plane had went off the grid. They couldn't find my plane. Well, he took out a search party, and they was Amanda, him, Eric, Claire, and her friend Megan, and her friend Chaz was all out looking for me. Well, Megan stayed behind at the home post and was giving them sections on the map to search for me. Well, about Amanda and Eric split up and they went one way, and Terry and his partner went one way, and then so forth. They was all checking. And Amanda kept freaking out, saying, well, I don't, what if my mom's dead? What if, she didn't survive? Well, Eric looked at her and told her, said, your mom is survived. She's a country girl. Well, they went on searching for me and stuff. And Amanda was going on about, what if she's hurt? How do you know? She could be hurt somewhere, All we found was one body. And Eric said, well, but I didn't see no blood. Nowhere. Well, Amanda said, and he said, your mom survived. Calm down. She's a country girl. Well, they went on searching and searching and searching. Well, they had walkie-talkies that rest for quite a while, quite a ways, and they would call Megan and tell them what section they had searched so she could mark it off the map. Well, they had searched for like 6 days for me. And all 6 days, every time they would say something, Eric would look at them and say, she's a country girl, she can survive. Well, that night, or back up a little bit, Amanda and them was walking up to the cave to make their camp. Amanda said, God, I wish I could find my mom or something. And Eric said, she's a country girl. Your mom's a country girl. She can survive. And he said this all through the dream. Well, then, Amanda, when he said, your mom's a country girl, she can survive, Amanda said, will you please stop saying that? Well, then they got to the cave, and her dad said something, Terry, he said something. And Eric said, Terry, she's fine. She's a country girl. She can survive. And Terry said, will you please stop saying that? Well, then, they had went and made their camp. And there was some hills that went up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, I'd made my camp on one side of the bank, or mountain, where they could see the fire. But they couldn't see it during the day, just at night. Well, Eric had went outside the cave to get some air or to smoke a cigarette or something. But anyway, he seen the fire. And he hollered, Amanda, get over here, hurry up. Amanda said, what? And he said, come here right now, hurry up. Well, Amanda went looking. Amanda went over to the edge of the thing, and he pointed out the fire. And he said, and then they both hollered, Dad, come here, hurry up. We see a fire. And he said, well, it's just probably a camper or something. He said, come here. So he walked over to the door, or he walked over to the edge of the cave, and he seen it too. Well, they put their fire out. And they started walking toward my fire, and Eric said, I told you, she's a country girl. She can survive. And Amanda and Terry both, at the same time, hollered, will you please stop saying that? And they got to me, and of course, when they walked up behind me, her dad touched me, and I had a stick, big stick in my hand, and I hit him with it because I didn't know it was him. And it was dark, and I hit him with the stick. Well, anyway, Amanda started screaming, no, 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 don't hit me, Mom, it's Amanda, it's Eric, it's Dad. No, Mom. So I didn't hit nobody else. She ran up and gave me a big hug. But the funny part of it all was I had took a rock, and I still don't know how I done it, because I didn't see that part in the dream. But I had took a rock and whittled it out until it looked like a cooker. And it was real smooth on the inside. And I made me some chili in the middle of bummed flippin' Egypt. And
Bumfucked Egypt is what she tried to say.
And anyway, Amanda went to look at me over, and she said, Mom, she said, how did you make it this far? Said, you're in the middle of bumfucked Egypt.
Mile past.
And I said, no, honey. I said, I survived. I said, I'm a country girl. I can survive. And they all turned around and looked at me because, of course, now you got to remember that's what Eric had been saying all through this dream, that I was a country girl. I can survive. But anyway, when she asked me about how I survived and how I got there and all this, and she said, you're in the middle of bumfucked Egypt with a broken arm, broken ankle, and some, sore ribs, broken ribs, some injuries. How'd you survive? And I said, no, honey, I'm about a mile past bumfucked Egypt. And I remember just as I was waking up, just right before I woke up, they was bringing in a helicopter to get us. And they had loaded everybody on the helicopter. And the pilot was putting out one of the
soldiers
was putting out my fire so it wouldn't catch the forest on fire. Well, I had that rock cooker that I made my chili in, and he was dumping chili out like this. And Amanda was hollering, no, don't, because she wanted to bring it back and show people that I'd made chili in the middle of bumfucked Egypt and no way to get the ingredients for chili. And just as they was dumping the chili out, I woke up. The end.
That's a wrap.